They were dead, 19 points down, scoreless through three quarters, stadium thinning out, and then Denver invented an impossible finish. The Broncos scored every single one of their 33 points in the fourth quarter and walked out of Mile High with a 33-32 win that will be replayed forever. Rotor's Bo Nix did the impossible job of turning panic into precision. He finished with 4 total touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing, and ripped the clock apart with a late, methodical final drive that set up Wil Lutz's game winner as time expired. Nix's play wasn't hero ball improvisation so much as a steady, violent urgency. Quick strikes, smart scrambles, and a willingness to take what the defense gave him in crunch time. Rotors, the sequence that breaks you down. Denver trailed 26-6-8 with just over 6 minutes left. What followed was a chain reaction, a scamper for a touchdown, a defensive takeaway that led to a short TD, another Nix keeper, and finally, the 2-minute synthesis of completions to Marvin Mims and Cortland Sutton that put Lutz in range. The Broncos did it in bursts so fast, each drive took less than a minute of game time. Historic is the right word. This was the most points ever scored in a fourth quarter by a team that had been shut out the first 3. ESPN.com, you can't talk about the finish without the small, ugly football moments that cost the Giants. Kicker Jude McAtamney missed 2 extra points. The second left New York by only 2 after a late Jackson Dart rushing TD, and Dart's late interception swung momentum back to Denver just when Big Blue needed to close the deal. Those little league mistakes are the kind that undo entire games when the other side refuses to die. ESPN.com, Jackson Dart didn't fold. He kept fighting. The rookie finished with 283 passing yards, 3 TDs, and a rushing score and gave his team life for much of the afternoon. But football is granular, and the Giants' collapse came down to missed execution. The P-teats, the turnover, the inability to stop 2-minute timing throws, not a lack of heart. You can't ask a rookie to be flawless and expect the rest of the roster to absorb everything around him. Giants tactically, Denver deserves a lot of credit for the way they simplified the path to points. The run game reappeared when it mattered, and once the Broncos had balance, Bo Nix's intermediate throws carved out the lanes teams live in during comebacks. The final drive was textbook clock management. Stretch the field selectively, pick up chunk completions, force the defense to guard every blade of grass, then win the spot that gets you 3. Denver Broncos for New York, the lesson is brutal but clear. Young quarterbacks need the margin of error taken away. The Giants' defensive unit started strong but bled under late pressure, and special teams mistakes turned what could have been a landmark upset into a historical collapse. The schedule doesn't get easier. A rematch with the Eagles looms, and this game will be the one the team studies when deciding how to protect a rookie's development going forward. Giants, this finish rewrites narratives. Denver is now 5 games above .500 and on a real roll. Bo Nix's fourth quarter masterpiece will be a defining tape for him as a closer and leader. For the Giants, it's a teachable calamity. Flashes of offensive creativity and tough defense can't mask the hairline failures that stacked up when it mattered most. Rotors. If you want the short version for the highlight reel, the Broncos refused to quit, Bo Nix refused to panic, and the Giants learned the brutal truth about how tiny mistakes blow up in the biggest moments. This was chaotic, beautiful, and painful. Everything NFL football should be. Reuters. Bo Nix did something you don't see every Sunday. He took over a game in the fourth quarter and turned a 19-point hole into one of the wildest comebacks of the season. The Broncos scored all 33 of their points in the final quarter to beat the Giants 33-32, capped by Wil Lutz's walk-off field goal as time expired. Reuters, Nix finished the day doing everything. He passed for 279 yards and 2 touchdowns and also rushed for 2 more scores, balancing urgency with poise as Denver ripped off 5 straight scoring drives in the final 14 minutes. The rallies were fast, ruthless, and textbook 2-minute football. Quick strikes, decisive reads, and enough scramble ability to keep chains moving. The Big 10-50. The sequence that swung the game came after chaos. A roughing the passer flag and a pass interference call helped the Giants march to the goal line late. Rookie Jackson Dart punched it in to give New York the lead, but kicker Jude McAtamney missed the extra point, his second miss of the day, which left the Giants only up by 2. That miss proved fatal. Diet guys. Giants.com, Denver answered with urgency. Nix hit Marvin Mims for a big chunk, then connected with Cortland Sutton to push into field goal range. With the clock bleeding, Nix and the offense executed a final spike and set Lutz up for a 39-yard attempt that split the uprights to end the game. The comeback wasn't just improbable, it was historic. No team in NFL history had scored 33 fourth-quarter points after being shut out the first three quarters. Reuters. For New York, it was a heartbreaker. Dart played well in stretches, 15 for 33, 283 yards, 3 TDs. But a late interception and the missed P-hats turned momentum into a toxic brew. Cam Scatabo and Wandale Robinson made plays, but the Giants couldn't close when the Broncos turned on the afterburners. Giants.com. Stat lines only tell part of the story. The Broncos' offensive line gave Nix windows. Their play calling shifted to quick, risk-free strikes that forced the Giants into uncomfortable third and long looks. Denver's running game also kept the chains honest, and special teams, after a shaky day that nearly cost them earlier, delivered the final perfect kick. That combination of scheme, tempo, and execution is why comebacks like this are rarely flukes. CBS Sports guys, this win keeps the Broncos rolling. They're now 5-2 and riding a 4-game winning streak, and it cements Sean Payton's team as one of the league's most dangerous late-game squads. For the Giants, the loss is a reality check. The Jackson Dart era still has promise, but it also has glaring edges that need smoothing if New York wants to turn exciting moments into consistent wins. The Big Ten 50. If you need one tidy takeaway, the Broncos turned an impossible script into a blueprint. Design quick, attack the seams, and when the clock matters most, don't hesitate. Tonight, Bo Nix did all of that. And the NFL got another reminder that football's wildest endings are still the ones that sting the most. Reuters. They were dead, 19 points down, scoreless through three quarters, stadium thinning out, and then Denver invented an impossible finish. The Broncos scored every single one of their 33 points in the fourth quarter and walked out of Mile High with a 33-32 win that will be replayed forever. Reuters' Bo Nix did the impossible job of turning panic into precision. He finished with 4 total touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing, and ripped the clock apart with a late, methodical final drive that set up Wil Lutz's game winner as time expired. Nix's play wasn't hero ball improvisation so much as a steady, violent urgency. Quick strikes, smart scrambles, and a willingness to take what the defense gave him in crunch time. Reuters, the sequence that breaks you down. Denver trailed 26-6-8 with just over 6 minutes left. What followed was a chain reaction, a scamper for a touchdown, a defensive takeaway that led to a short